Okay. My name is Nicholas Zimmerman. Date is Sunday, August 12, 2018. Time now is approximately 10:45. Location is Wendy Correctional Facility in upstate New York. The title of this recording should be Part 3. Nicholas Zimmerman goes public about the circumstances surrounding his mother's death. Subtitle, Debunked Every Lie that Charles Willis posted on August 10th, 2018. I have prepared a statement in response to Charles Willis's post on August 10th, 2018. I will now read the statement into the record. At the outset of this recording, I want everyone to know that I'm completely disgusted with not only the lies that are being told by Charles Willis regarding my mother's situation, but also with the family of my mother that are sitting by quietly, allowing him to mislead the public and other family members, and are not stepping up to expose and correct all the falsities he continues to spread. It is starting to become clear to me that my mother gave life to people that ultimately don't even care enough about her to even defend her in her afterlife. Seeing that this is now my fight and my fight alone to find out what happened to my mom, I do so without a second thought, as this woman fought for me for 17 straight years to gain my release from solitary confinement and to prove my innocence. I now give you 13 important points of interest in which I will debunk every lie that Charles Willis posted on August 10th, 2018. Point 1. By posting pictures of my mom in the hospital in her final days at her worst, most compromising point in her life, and making references to her using a potty because of her sickness, the world now gets to see the careless, heartless, inconsiderate, indifferent, self-centered Charles Willis for who he really is. If he will post pictures like this of his own mother in an attempt to cover up the fact that she alleged that he was trying to kill her, then this should show you that he will go to any extent to cover up and hide anything that may have happened to my mom while she stayed at his house. Point 2. In Charles Willis's own words, he says my mom, quote, pleaded with him to take her down to his house to get away from what she was going through in New York. While she did want to get away from the environment she was living in, all of her kids know she only chose to go to Charles Willis's house because that was her best and only option at trying to live in peace. Since I was born, I never left my mother. I lived with her until I was old enough to buy my house in Long Island, and then she lived with me, rent-free, expense-free. But for the past 17 years of my incarceration, my mom lived in an unstable environment for a woman her age, and Charles Willis did nothing about it, although he had a big, luxurious house in Maryland that he could have moved her to. It was only when she was within months of her passing away did he step in and do anything. Now then, it was too late. If he truly loved her, he would have had her down there years earlier. The fact that she had to plead with him to take her only shows that he didn't really want to do it in the first place. Point 3. Charles Willis alleges that when my mom moved to Maryland, she didn't care if she ever seen me again. This statement is laughable, as I still have numerous recordings that my mom left on Desiree's phone asking why I have not called her in the last 2 days, and this was after she moved to Maryland. My mom professed her love for me to anybody and everybody she ever knew, sometimes even complete strangers. Attached to this recording is a writing by the Correctional Association of New York, which happens to capture my mom's love for me. Charles Willis apparently contradicts himself several times in his own posting, because at one point he says my mom visited me at numerous prisons, sold my books, pushed my garbage to all that would listen, and would go to the end of the earth for me. But then he amazingly claims that she didn't care to see me no more and didn't put me on the policy for her burial expenses. Considering that he allegedly was the power of attorney, we will never truly know what she wanted until he releases a copy of her will, the do not resuscitate order, the power of attorney, and related documents. Point 4. Charles Willis alleges that my mom came to visit him wherever he was stationed. I've been in my mom's life for 41 years, and I don't remember her flying to the Philippines, Korea, or nowhere else to see this dude. I don't even think my mom has ever been out of the country. If she went further than Washington, D.C. to see this guy, I would be surprised because I never heard about it. Point 5. Charles Willis alleges that I only want money and items. This statement sounds funny coming from a guy that is holding my own insurance policy hostage until I agreed to sign it over to him. So who really wants all the money? He's also fighting to hold on to a policy that he alleges is only worth $2,500. For someone who claims to be so successful and rich, this leads me to believe two things. Either he's actually broke in reality and he needs all the money he can get, or this policy is worth a lot more than he says it is. Again, we'll never know till he releases the documents. Point 6. Charles Willis alleges that I will not utilize my insurance policy money for my mom's burial. This is a complete lie. I had a conversation with Charles Willis on July 20th, 2018, the same day my mother passed away. And I asked him if he needed my insurance policy money to cover my mom's funeral expenses, and he told me no. There was also a family member on the line that heard this conversation, and I only hope that they will come forward soon and expose this lie. Point 7. Charles Willis alleges my mom left an insurance policy behind for him that she had been paying for the past 4 years. That's another lie. From 2005 to 2015, my mom had a policy for Charles Willis, but it lapsed in 2015 for failure to pay the premium, and that policy is now closed. Only 2 other policies exist. One for her burial expenses, which he was the beneficiary for, and he is entitled to anything that is left over only once funeral expenses are covered. The only other policy she left behind was for me, and it should be noted that the only reason she left him in charge of the burial was because I was in prison. Everybody knows that. Point 8. Charles Willis alleges he emailed me a copy of the insurance policy. That's a lie. And when we get to court, my email transmissions will show no emails coming from him to me. Point 9. Charles Willis alleges I have nothing else to hold on to. For once, he tells the truth, and he is right. Even if I became a millionaire tomorrow morning, I would still have nothing without my mom's here with me. Point 10. Charles Willis alleges that the love of a mother don't start when she is gone. It starts at birth. Really? While assuming that he's trying to allege that he loved his mother since birth, why did it take him 79 years to move her down the big house he has in Maryland? I got my very first house at 22 years old, and my mom moved in it before I did. Says a lot about you, Charles Willis. Point 11. Charles Willis alleges I should take the time to get an education so I can have a, quote, slim chance in life when I get out. I understand now that Charles Willis has no idea who Nicholas Zimmerman really is. Since being in prison, I have written, produced, and distributed over 500 legal briefs, essays, short poems, blogs, commercial and film scripts, books, promotional flyers, grievances, business proposals, hip-hop and R&B songs, etc. He would notice if he only took the time to review my website, www.themaedmovement.com. M-A-E-G is M as in Mary, A as in Apple, E as in everything, G as in girl, and then the word movement, the MEEGmovement.com. Also, my Facebook page is facebook.com/FreeNicholasZimmerman. Point 12. Charles Willis denies that my mom called the cops on him, alleging that he was trying to kill her for her money. Perhaps Charles Willis is the one who needs an education, because he should know that there is a record of this incident in the Maryland State Police archives, which we are trying to obtain. Point 13. Lastly, Charles Willis seems to have threatened me by saying he wants to have a conversation with me face-to-face in the prison yard. I was trying to figure out exactly what yard he was talking about. He could be talking about the courtyard, the schoolyard, or stockyard, because I know he ain't talking about the prison yard. Charlie, stop it. You a cop, man. You ain't never been about that type of life, so knock it off. And I'm glad I don't live that life no more, because just you talking crazy like that would have got you in a whole bunch of shit you ain't built for. So let's keep this conversation strictly about Mom, and how you trying to cover up what really happened to her. I'm done with this.